Hello, grade 7s, and welcome back to another history lesson. Today we're going to be talking about the Persian Wars. So please make sure you write down today's date, title, and learning objective in your notes. So we are going to talk about how the Spartans and Athenians were able to come together and stop a Persian invasion of mainland Greece. Okay, so yesterday we talked about the growth of the Persian Empire. Last week we talked about how Spartan and Athenian culture, and we know they did not get along. So let's see what happens when Persia wants to expand their empire into Greece. All right, let's get started. So, first we're going to talk about the Battle of Marathon. So as the Greeks set up colonies in the Mediterranean area, they often clashed with the Persians. By the mid-500s BCE, Persia already controlled the Greek cities in Asia Minor. So that's in this area over here. In 499 BCE, the Athenian army helped the Greeks in Asia Minor rebel against their Persian rulers. The rebellion failed, but King Darius decided that mainland Greeks had to be stopped from interfering with the Persian Empire. So 9 years later, in 490 BCE, a Persian fleet landed 2,000 soldiers on the plain of Marathon. And I know you've heard this name before, Marathon. Here, let's quickly look at a map. I'll expand this here. So if this green area is the Persian Empire, and we know that this is Greece, if you take a look, here's Athens, and here is Marathon. So we have the Persians are going to land in Marathon, and this is where Athens is located. And if you remember, Sparta is there. Okay. For several days, the Persians waited there for the Athenians to advance. So they're in Marathon. They have 20,000 soldiers, and they're waiting for the Athenians to come and attack them. The Athenians, however, did not take their bait. They only had 10,000 soldiers, so that is exactly half the amount, compared to the Persians' 20,000 soldiers. They knew that attacking was too dangerous. Instead, what they did was they held back in the hills so that they were able to overlook the plain where the Persians were waiting. When they got tired of waiting, the Persians' commander decided to sail south and attack Athens directly. So we have the Persians are waiting in Marathon. The Athenians aren't coming, so they decide, okay, let's hop it back in our ships and let's sail south to Athens. That is what the plan is. So he ordered, the Persian commander ordered his troops back onto the ships. And it was then, that was his big mistake, because he decided that the first to board would be the horsemen in the cavalry. So right here is a picture of what cavalry looked like in the Persian Empire. So they boarded the ships first, and they were the strongest part of the Persian army. As soon as the cavalry was out of fighting range, the Greeks charged down from the hills onto the plain of Marathon. They caught the Persian foot soldiers standing in the water, waiting for their turn to board the ships. Unable to defend themselves, the Persians were easily defeated. And according to legend, the Athenians sent a messenger home with the news. The runner raced nearly 25 miles from Marathon to Athens. He collapsed from exhaustion and with his last breath announced, "Victory!" Then he died. Modern marathon races are named for this famous run and are just over 26 miles long. So that is how you guys know the term marathons. Okay, but that is not it for the Persian Empire. There's going to be another battle. After Darius, who was the ruler of the Persian Empire, we learned that in the previous lesson, his son Xerxes became the Persian king. Xerxes vowed revenge against the Athenians. In 480 BCE, he launched a new invasion to Greece. But this time, he had about 180,000 troops and thousands of warships and supply vessels. So he decided this is going to be an even bigger invasion. To defend themselves, the Greeks decided to join forces. Sparta sent the most soldiers, and their king, Leonidas, served as the commander. Athens provided the navy. An Athenian general named Themistocles came up with a plan to fight the Persians. The Greeks knew that as the huge Persian army marched south, it depended on shipments of food brought in by boat. Themistocles argued that the Greeks' best strategy would be to attack the Persian ships and cut off food supplies to the army. So if you think about it, the Persian soldiers aren't going to carry their own food. That's not going to last very long. And with 180,000 soldiers, Persia is going to have a huge supply train to bring lots and lots of food to feed all of these people. So Themistocles decided, let's cut off the food supplies. That way these soldiers won't be able to survive. To ready their fleet for battle, the Greeks needed to stall the Persian army before it reached Athens. The Greeks decided the best place to block the Persians was at Thermopylae. Thermopylae was a narrow pass through the mountains that was easy to defend. About 7,000 Greek soldiers held off the Persians there for 2 days. The Spartans in the Greek army were especially brave. As one story has it, the Greeks heard that the Persian arrows would darken the sky. A Spartan warrior responded, "That is good news. We will be able to fight in the shade." Here I have a picture for you of from the movie 300, where you can see these are the Spartan soldiers, and these are all the arrows from the Persian army. And as you can see, there are so many arrows that it is making the sky dark. All right. Unfortunately for the Greeks, a traitor directed the Persians to a mountain path that led them around the Greeks. As the Persians mounted a rear attack, so they were going to go all the way around the army and come from behind them to attack them, King Leonidas sent most of his troops to safety. He and several hundred others, however, stayed behind and fought to the death. The Greeks lost the battle at Thermopylae, but their valiant stand gave Athens enough time to assemble 200 ships. And this trap that these Spartan soldiers are caught in, this is where that movie 300 comes from. It's actually based off a comic book about that battle. So the Greek fleet attacked the Persian fleet in the Strait of Salamis. And I'm just going to quickly flip back to that map. Here we go. So you can see that we have Salamis right here. So it's actually quite close to Athens and Marathon. All right. So a strait is a narrow strip of water between two pieces of land. So that is where they were going to attack the Persian fleet, so they would have no place to go. The Greeks expected to have the upper hand in the battle because their ships could maneuver well in tight spaces, meaning they could turn easily. Greek ships were smaller, faster, and easier to steer than the big Persian ships, which became easy targets. And you know what? The Greek plan worked. After a ferocious battle, the Greeks destroyed almost the entire Persian fleet. Still, the Persian army marched on. When their troops reached Athens, the Greeks had already fled. They were no longer there, and the Persians burnt the city. This only stiffened the resolve of the Greek city-states. In early 479 BCE, they came together to form the largest Greek army ever assembled. With solid body armor, longer spears, and better training, the Greek army crushed the Persian army just northwest of Athens. This battle was a turning point for the Greeks, convincing the Persians to retreat back to Asia Minor. By working together, the Greek city-states had saved their homeland from invasion. Okay, we're going to continue talking about these battles in tomorrow's lesson, and we're going to talk about the collapse of the Persian army as well. All right, guys, if you have any questions, have them ready for tomorrow's lesson, and I'll see you then. Bye.